Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Hello indeed, and welcome to our show where the two of us as comics solve problems. We kept the name relatively straightforward, didn't we, Steve? We kind of just put it all in there. We are here twice a week to solve the problems of the world. And I think you'll notice since we've been doing this show, we're now into our second series. We've not really accomplished much, but hopefully you enjoy it anyway. We can solve your problems if you'd like to have your problem not solved as well. You can tweet us, you can message us on Facebook or on YouTube, whatever platform you're watching on. And so we will tackle your problems. We will tackle the world's problems. Before we get into the first problem, which Steve is going to present to us shortly, if you want to, if you're watching this on a platform that is shareable, please feel free to share it because the more people watching, it makes us feel nice.
Yeah, I was thinking this today, actually. The amount of effort that I started writing for this at something stupid like 10 o'clock this morning. I've never worked so hard, so it would be nice if someone saw it.
Yeah, so you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can watch us there, which is a good platform for it, or on Facebook, wherever. We're not prejudiced against different platforms. We accept all platforms. I don't want to say all platforms matter. That's not the right thing to say. But just watch us. Just watch us. That's what I'm going to say. Just on that, I've just created our own problem, haven't I? To start. Yeah.
There's a problem that we are not going to attempt to fix in the space of a 45-minute comedy show that's linked to the Edinburgh Fringe. We'd like to work again.
Yes, that's right. And that's true. We are part of this, our last show, as part of the virtual free festival at the Edinburgh Fringe, which, as far as festivals go, Steve, I think we'll have to recap at the end today and see how we rate this Edinburgh festival versus the ones we've done in the past. So Definitely. We'll save that for the end of the show.
Yeah, pop that in at the end. Lovely stuff. Meanwhile, let's jump in with one of the problems in the news, and I can almost guarantee we can fix it, and it's not often we get to say that. So the headline that I saw is the fact that most Brits just won't wear face masks. Here's why. And I didn't even need the article, because the thing is, if you want to get face masks worn by Brits, you want to get Brits paying more attention to what it's like to be healthy and stay clean and stuff like that. We've already come up with the solutions.
Okay.
It's not our fault that no one's listened, but I was going through different bits that we've done together and that I've done in my career, and I've solved this problem 4 times.
What? Wow.
First
you were
of all,
preparing for this all of your life.
Yeah, 2004, I think it was. I did a drive time show in Sussex and Surrey on Mercury FM, or as we had to say, 102.7 Mercury FM, today's best mix. And I used to do interviews with people. I wasn't meant to do because it's drive time. You're just meant to play songs. But I managed to get the boss to let me play interviews. I interviewed a professor of virology. He said the reason that so many people get ill with flu every single winter is because, like, kids pass it to each other at school and then go home and hug their grandparents. And I came up with a theory that if we get rid of morning assembly and instead replace it with a sheep dip, all of a sudden you've solved the problems.
Yeah. You don't have kids, do you, Steve?
Don't have kids, but it's a darn good solution. The professor agreed. But no one has actually taken that on board. That's all right, because a few years later, there was the issue with swine flu.
Yeah.
And I was at a gig, and there's a stand-up comedian who did a bit, and I'm not dissing the guy. I value him and respect him as a stand-up comedian. But he did a bit where he was saying, because at the time the government was saying, sneeze into your elbow. And he said, I'm not having the government tell me how to sneeze and wipe my nose. What would you be okay if the government tried to teach you how to wipe your ass? And I then did another bit on stage saying, well, if people were wiping their ass into their own hand and trying to shake mine with it, yeah, I'd want them to have a word. But yet still people push back about being clean. Then there was last year's Edinburgh show, which I know you came to see. You were doing one up there. You came to see mine. I had this whole big ranty section about being an INTJ. It's my personality type. My New Year's resolution is to stop apologizing for it. There are some benefits to being like we INTJs are. Like we stick to a lot of rules. So if we break a rule, the rule is probably at fault. And I raised this issue of this rule. Hold the handrail. Please hold the handrail. Nope. No, I said on stage, I would rather die by falling down these escalators than via whatever disease I'll catch from it.
Yeah.
And who was proved right?
Yep. You should have been listening to you all along, Steve.
I mean, I said it only last year. I was saying stuff that could have made this coronavirus pandemic not as bad. I was saying I'd rather die by falling down the escalator because it would be a quicker death, unless you fall down the escalator that's going up, in which case that would take a while. but still probably quicker. So all of these solutions I came up with and no one's listened to. And the one that it suddenly came to me, I did a bit when I was writing some sketches for the BBC about an advert that Boots did. You know Boots the chemist?
I'm familiar with their technologies and wares.
So you've been in the UK for how long now?
20 years.
Okay, then you definitely would have seen this advert on TV, because I think it was 2009 when this came out. Okay. So I'm going to go through the advert, and let's just see if we can highlight anything that might look a bit odd if you're living in the COVID era. Here's the start of the advert.
Hello. Hi, Rachel. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? Great. Oh, what are you up to? Oh, just finishing the shopping, picking the kids up from school, taking them swimming.
Just finishing the shopping, going in shops, sneezing and snotting everywhere, picking the kids up from school, so not only spreading it to kids, but probably the other parent. And what's that at the end? Taking them swimming. Were you invited to the Wuhan pool party? You rancid spreader of disease. Then it continues.
We've got people over for dinner tonight.
People over for dinner. Nice. Maybe lick the cutlery first, and that way you can guarantee they'll catch whatever pox you're trying to spread. The advert continues.
Where are you? Well, I'm going away for work at 5 in the morning, so I'm just doing my presentation and packing.
Packing. So it's a flight. Very good of you, because it's not like everyone on that flight's going to catch whatever you're breathing out. What else?
I hated the bathroom because Pete's parents come for the weekend.
Oh, Pete's parents are coming for the weekend. Now, I'm just guessing, looking at the age of the people we're seeing there, that Pete's parents might be heading on towards being in a vulnerable group. Maybe if they catch your flu, they might die and you get some inheritance. Is that the plan? Is that what the plan is all along? Then it continues with, this absolute slap in the face.
Actually, I've just been out getting some medicine because he's in bed with a cold. Oh, bless.
Oh, Pete, what's he like? Being in bed, keeping his germs to himself, the selfish prick. And then the advert wraps up.
When he's ill and you don't have time to be,
when he's ill and you don't have time. Your errands are so important. They're more important than people dying. You have to go and do your things. And this, right, okay, there's a gender issue with this advert, which they've changed the law and now adverts aren't allowed to be sexist. So there's a strong chance that advert would not be allowed to be made. But even if you made it just with everyone being of the same gender, the fundamental problem is stop having this attitude of, if you plough on with your dirty germs spitting everywhere, aren't you so brave? You're not brave. You're a spreader of death. Keep your dirty germs away from other people. It's this martyrdom attitude that you want a round of applause for making other people ill who then spread the disease. Every disease you've ever caught, you've caught because other people have given it to other people. Yeah. So actually, I reckon when we see that advert, we should view it more like this.
Oh, hello, how are you? Oh, hello. Busy. I've got to go to the swimming pools later because I got a verruca. Want to make sure I spread that round. Then I'm booking a cruise because I got norovirus. And then I'm going to have lots of unprotected sex because I got crabs. And how's Brian? Oh, he's dead because I shamed him into never admitting that he was ill. So...
Just some thoughts on solutions to people's attitudes to staying clean. Look, hey, we've clearly done it 4 times and no one's listened. Why would a 5th time on this show make a blind bit of difference either?
I think because this show wasn't there, Steve, and with that level of acting that you've done with yourself again, if that was there 10 years ago.
Yeah, I just filmed myself around the flat acting. There's more still to come later in the show. Of course there is.
Yeah.
All right, some messages to go through. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Starts with, because I did the radio voice. Mark says, I can do a radio voice too. Have them crying with laughter at work. I mean, most of my stand-up set is just me doing that voice.
Yeah.
Ellie says, the British need a sheep dip, but I remember the verruca pools. Yes, exactly.
We don't have verruca in America, I don't think. I don't even know what I've never wondered what a verruca is.
It's a footwort.
Oh.
Which actually now that sounds like a plant. You see, it gets confusing.
We call them planters worts. Yeah.
Oh.
I think.
Plantar is in like the palm of the hand and the foot.
I think so.
Like plantar fasciitis.
Well, I don't know. I don't use those kind of words. I'm not a communist, but
I should bleep that out. I don't know what I'm going on about.
Just call it a wart. This verruca stuff. That makes it sound, yeah.
We have a lot of, we're using English to that higher level. We have extra words for things that we don't need.
Yeah.
So have a look. Do not use the handrail. Stay indoors. Don't mention the event.
Show.
And Stephen Allen, you're the next PM. I will take that job when I'm dead and buried. Not a chance. Good God. And also, interesting, on Periscope sends a message saying military contractors have created a global coup using COVID. Watch Shadowgate.
Ooh.
Nah, probably not. Is it 5G? Is it Bill Gates?
Yep. That's what that whole. Maybe that's what that Microsoft was. That paperclip was. The Microsoft, they were using that to insert like the chips, because that's how the paperclip just slips in.
Looks like you're trying to exhibit free will. Bing bing.
Oh dear. Cool. I can't see any more comments on this side. But I can see one of the things people can do is buy us a drink during the show, and I can see there that Gary has. So thank you very much for that, Gary. And also send us your problems if you'd like while we're going through things, because we can see some of the chat and so on from there. Can I start my problem, Steve?
I already know what your next problem is, and I'm scared and nervous because it's going to make me feel bad. Go on.
It does make us feel bad. It's the problem of having to watch more of the Republican National Convention. Tonight is the final night with Trump coming in. We're actually going to tease with a little bit of his speech in a second. But yeah, I've got 2 days to catch up on from watching Tuesday night after we were on, and then on Wednesday. We're going to start here in a second, not quite yet, with Mike Pence, the vice president. He was the headliner yesterday. I can see that the ratings are in, because that's what Trump cares about as a former TV person. Yeah. And Mike Pence had 6 million fewer viewers than Kamala Harris.
Ouch.
A girl beat you, Mikey. A girl. Don't tell mother. She'll be unhappy. Now, it's possible that there were more people watching Mike Pence, but they might have fallen asleep. So they don't count, because he's really quite dull. Now, one of the things he tried to do was he tried to have a little jab at one of the things Joe Biden says, which we've got a clip of right here.
As we speak, we're developing a growing number of treatments known as therapeutics, including convalescent plasma, that are saving lives all across America. Now, last week, Joe Biden said that no miracle is coming.
That's right. That's right. He said that because, Mike, you've just admitted it, because what the solution's coming is from science. So he said we've got a cure. Doctors have put it forward, and then he pauses way too long. That's when he loses people. And then he's like, and yeah, Joe Biden was talking about no miracle. Yeah, you've just said it. It's the science that's coming. That's what's going to... Oh, for fuck's sake. They're going to need a miracle, though, to be fair, this party, because this is what happened at the end of his speech. After they were all done talking, Trump turned up, and you can see here, that was the crowd in front of the speech for Mike Pence. Look at that social distancing. One mask to be seen. Trump's talking, which means he's shouting.
Yeah. In fact, of all those people, the only one who looks like they want to be further away is Melania.
Yeah. She always does. There's a snapshot of her kissing Trump. I didn't put it in the show because it's just, after her speech on Tuesday night. And she kind of goes in low and she comes away and she's got the orange all over her face. It's really gross.
Wow. Like you've just been eating cheese puffs, that kind of.
Or Cheetos for the Americans that are watching. Those are good. Anyway, Pence did try and have raised the rhetoric a little bit at the end of his speech. He tried to really land it, and we've got the end of his speech right here.
And with President Donald Trump in the White House for 4 more years, and with God's help, we will make America great again. Again.
I like that.
Nothing says you've got a vision for the future like using the same slogan again. Again. I mean, it's a famous rhetorical technique, Steve. We've seen it used throughout American history. I mean, we all remember this moment.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Again. Sounds just like him. I can do my Boston accent there. Again. We do have a sneak peek, actually, which is what I told you at the beginning. I keep my promises, of Trump's speech tonight. This is the closing argument that he's making of the problems that are facing America right now.
But for too many of our citizens, a different reality exists.
Again.
Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities.
Again.
Rusted out factories.
Again.
Scattered like tombstones across the landscape.
Again.
Of our nation. An education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge.
Again.
And the crime, and the gangs, and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential.
Again.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
Again.
Can I just say as a side point?
Yep.
You sound like Marge Simpson's sisters.
But he's right, Steve. America is in a mess. And that is why I'll be voting for Joe Biden. He's laid it out there. He's laid out the problems. Now, Pence wasn't the only speaker that spoke last night. Laura Trump, whose daughter-in-law to the president works for the campaign, she made her speech, and she was hearkening back to the second greatest president ever, a Republican, Abraham Lincoln. Obviously, doesn't stand up to Trump. But she had a quote from Lincoln, and this is what she said. He said,
Abraham Lincoln once famously said, "America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves."
I do agree with her in that sense that her father-in-law is doing a good job to destroy from within. The only problem with quoting Lincoln on that is that Lincoln never said it, which was all over the press. Which is, that's a handy tool, isn't it? You can just say things that someone said that they didn't say, like, whatever's fitting the moment. Like, we remember that time that Lincoln said, "Hey, suck my balls. I'm walking here." He said that when he was trying to cross Gettysburg on Fifth Avenue because the traffic is a bitch. Remember that moment? Now, Laura's husband, Eric, he's apparently still in the family. Now, he gets picked on a lot, Eric Trump, because he's just kind of like, Donald is more involved, Ivanka's the favorite. So Eric's always picked on. So I thought, I don't want to be that person. So we've included Eric's entire speech in this next section.
I'd like to speak directly to my father. I miss working alongside you every single day. I love you very much.
And that's the most he said to his father in the last 4 years. We can see some of the power dynamic that is actually in with Laura and Eric, because she tweeted out this little video.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
Wow. He's providing the same service as that desk that's in front of her.
Yeah. And he even knows which ones they are. Blush. It's like, yes, mistress. Next one. Here you go. Now we know, watching that, actually, that Trump does talk about Eric sometimes, because he was talking about Eric when he said there was that pussy he was going to grab. And finally, to cover our RNC coverage, I want to go back to something that we did talk about on Monday, and that was the fact that from Monday's RNC was that Donald Trump Jr. did look like a little bit like he was off his tits on cocaine, because he was sweating, his eyes were red. It was a big media story, and he's come forward to clear up the whole thing, and he went on Fox and Friends to do it.
You were one of the keynote speakers on the first night, Monday night. And speaking of the media, afterwards, I saw that the main concern was, why were his eyes so glassy?
Well, I guess there must have been something with the lighting, but they started doing this trending thing. Donald Trump Jr.'s on cocaine.
Again. Look at that. We got a callback in this section.
Nice. It's got structure. We're going places.
End of the Fringe, I finally have some structure.
It's a great video of him. If ever you want to go on TV and deny being on coke, don't be so pepped up about it.
Again. Oh, dear.
Some of the messages coming through there. Mark says Eric Bouvier. Nice. That's what you would have been called if you were doing that voice. Mark says, has Mike Pence ever listened to I'm Sorry, I'll Read That Again? And Ellie says, great, again.
Yep.
confusing. And then James says she must grab him by the pussy. Yeah, all with. I mean, I just for some reason the mental image. I'm just thinking of trying to win a toy at the seaside, that kind of thing.
Can you grab someone with? Never mind.
There's that film Teeth, but it's a side note. I mean, he looks so serious when he's doing it as well, handing over the things like they're doing one of those pretend being in hospital, kind of in the theatre things, forceps, stat, but it's blusher and this guy. It looks like when he eventually gets voted out of the family, he can go and work at Boots. Probably just
that's true.
Patronize women.
To be fair, he is under criminal investigation by the state attorney of New York, and he did take the fifth, essentially, by saying he didn't want to testify. So maybe he's practicing for when he's in prison.
Yeah. Or, if he does that in toilets, people would give him £1 on the way out.
That's true.
That kind of
that's
no
true.
Splash, no gash.
All kinds of other career opportunities for him once the Trump organization is gone.
Lovely stuff. So you keep the messages coming through. Oh, Anthony's sent us a message as well. Back to what we were talking about at the start, which was about handrails. Never touch the handrail, even though the rule is handrails, you're meant to touch them. Of course not. We're living in a COVID environment. Anthony says, also, those handrails never go at the same speed as the escalators. That is so true.
Yeah.
It's the one thing you need from a handrail next to an escalator is for it to go at the same time, the same speed as you. Because what happens is you get on at the top of it and it travels faster than you do. By the time you're halfway down the escalator, you've got your arm around the person in front of you. And that is not good during this COVID time.
No, it is not at all.
And Mark says, I now have a mental image involving a sink plunger with teeth.
All right. Well, I wonder. Ellie's talked about a film voice. Which film voice is that? I can't keep up with these things. By the time the film voice. Did you do film? I don't know.
No.
We need more specificity in your comments, Ellie. You've got a flashback because it takes us time to get these things.
I could do one if you fancy. If we imagine that Laura Trump is a sequel to the film Teeth. Did you ever see Teeth?
No.
Do you know what the film Teeth is about?
I'm afraid to ask.
In a world where one woman has teeth where you ordinarily would not have teeth.
Oh, right.
And you should watch it because I'm going to ruin it for you now, but I was watching that film and there's a bit where she realizes no one else has teeth there, goes to the doctor, and I think the doctor calls it, he calls it by its Latin name, vagina dentata, and everyone I've ever known who's watched that film suddenly screams, it means no worries.
I will be definitely checking that out this evening. In between, that's a different kind of dental checkup. Anyway,
flossing is the worst part. So if you're enjoying the show, spread the word. And right now is a great time on social media to drop a link to this show because we've still got loads to come through.
And there's plenty of teeth in the rest of the show. All right.
Let's move on to a problem which I don't know if we can solve this one. This is the story of ghost towns. Apparently, there's warnings of ghost towns if staff do not return to the office. The UK could be filled with these ghost towns, which seems bad, doesn't it? We actually have some footage of someone trying to survive in a ghost town. I think we can cross to it now. And, there he is. He's just getting ready. He's the guy down the bottom. It looks all right, doesn't it? I mean, there you go. Plenty to eat.
Yeah.
So... And I saw the long version of that, and at some point, some cherries turn up. So there's fruit, so it's quite nice. But this happens a lot. We're always being told, get back to it, go back to the office. You're working from home, go back to the office. And we've said on this show, I think we caught it earlier than most people. It's all because no political party ever wanted to say, we need to ask you for more income tax. So they worked out how to screw us from other angles that we couldn't spot. But if we all stay at home, then we no longer... fall into the trap of being slowly bled by these stealth taxes.
Yeah.
If you go and watch some previous episodes, there's the bit where I had a politician saying, get out there, spend money on things with VAT, things with duty, because we need the money. In fact, that politician's given us another video.
Hello, me again, one of your betters. I mean, representative in Parliament. And I'm here once more to ask you to do more to put this country back on its feet. Don't just go into work. Think of extra things you can do to help our side of the economy. If you see a speed camera, why not go through it like shit off a shovel? If you see a bus lane, why not go for a drive in it? Those fines will definitely help. And when you get into town, why not park like an absolute arsehole? It's small things like this that can really, really help. More money is needed in our economy, and we'd very much rather it came from you, not us.
So I think it's a serious point. They're trying to get the money out of us that way. And a lot of economists have said that if we don't go back to work and go back to spending money in the way that we used to, it will cause a problem for the economy. And they might be right. But it doesn't mean we will actually go back to what they said, because I'm sure economists were right in the past when they said, we really need to stop buying things made using one of those looms. If we keep doing that, it'll ruin the economy. We didn't, and somehow it all readjusted. And actually, people didn't used to work and live in the way that they do now. Like, people used to live and work in the same town. And somehow we let this happen, where for big cities, especially for London, if you work in London, you can't afford to live in London.
Yeah.
If you live near London, you can't afford to work where you live. So you have no choice other than to spend your money and your time in horrible conditions travelling into London, in some packed train where you've got your nose in someone's armpit, you've got a copy of the metro being crammed so far up your arse, if you fart it would be like that thing where you get a blade of grass and go just to get into London so you can spend your money on the shops there, supporting the local economy of central London. Then you have to spend your money getting back. So yeah, if people didn't do that, if they just spent their money in the local towns, the Pretz in London would suffer, but the local coffee shops in whichever town you live in would benefit in comparison. And as a slightly nerdy point, the fixed cost of running 100 coffee shops is more than the cost of running 10 coffee shops that are 10 times as busy. So... Yeah, so having lots of coffee shops in lots of towns, more of that money would have to go on business rates. So it's less money to the stakeholders of big companies, more money back into the economy that can benefit people who might require something that's government funded. And bearing all that in mind, what would happen to the ghost cities? Because I don't think it's ghost towns. If anything, we created ghost towns by living in a place and working elsewhere. But the ghost cities, what would happen then? Well, the price, like the value of the property in the centre of London would drop. And then eventually someone would just move in and live there. Because people will live anywhere. People live in Milton Keynes.
Oh, God.
Let that sink in for a while.
Some gigs there.
I did say there's a mention of Milton Keynes in the comments. I've just seen it come up before I did the joke. So we'll see what that was about. I might have just offended someone. So, yeah, it could be that we don't go back to the way it worked. And maybe the way things work in the future might be better. Why spend all that time travelling? But I will say this. If that's just my analysis based on, like the subsidiary subject at university was economics. So I have the really basic grasp of it, and it's just a theory. But if we do have the ability to pick between working at home and working in the office, for sweet mercy, save yourselves and work in an office. Because I've worked at home for decades in what we do for a living. I've been a writer and done loads of stuff from home. And anyone who knows about this, anyone who's ever worked from home will realise you are not respected if you work at home. We have all been through this situation.
I'm home.
Hiya.
Well, I see you've not done the recycling.
Sorry, what?
You've been at home all day and you've still not done the recycling.
Well, neither did you.
I've been at work.
And so have I.
That is the moment in everyone's life when you realise two things. One is you are not respected if you work from home, and two, if you win an argument by using logic, you're about to get shouted at.
I'm glad you stopped the dialogue with yourself before you shouted at yourself. That is not healthy.
What? The original version of the script went on longer, but... Are you saying it's not healthy that I'm constantly acting out scenes on my own in my own home?
No, it's fine. Keep going. You're good.
Given a choice between working at home and not doing, you can keep some messages coming through. Milton Keynes, James says, Milton Keynes will have tumbleweed of rolls of printer paper and whiteboard markers. Fair enough. Is that their main thing there? I don't know what they got going on.
Ellie's accusing us of actually solving problems. We're going to destroy our brand, Steve. damn it. Be careful what you're doing. And it did remind me when you were talking about being on a packed tube and being, in someone's armpit. I do remember once having to go into town during a commuter time, and, your arms are upholding the thing. And I was sweating and hot. And so, how you kind of, you wipe your face on your shoulder. This is pre-face mask, obviously. Wipe your face on your shoulder to kind of, scratch your face because you can't touch anything. And I was so packed in, I accidentally wiped my face on another person's shoulder. And this woman, it was a woman, she just looked at me like, what the are you doing? And I just looked at her and went, I'm sorry, I thought it was my shoulder.
That is a great excuse. I'm sorry, I thought it was my shoulder.
It's true, I didn't. Anyway.
I don't know why everyone is so upset. I thought it was my pussy. That's where we're going.
It was your son, Eric. Anyway.
2 callbacks in one night. What are you doing?
I know, it's crazy. Oh, God. What else is in the chat there? Mark's about to return to the office. Wow. 28 weeks off. Good luck, Mark. Godspeed.
Wow. Over half a year of not being in the office. I mean, good luck to you. I reckon it's better to be at the home for the reasons of the sketch, but it is going to be quite a challenge. Who was it? Ellie says that I should be the next Chancellor of the Exchequer. The new Rishi? No, I mean, I turned down the Prime Minister job. I don't want to be the Chancellor.
But that's where all the power is, isn't it? I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no power left anymore. And thank you to Susan here, who's made a very nice buying of a drink for us. So thank you very much for that. Right. Well,
next
Mark,
problem.
This might help you with a problem that you might be having, because you might be heading back into work. You're going to be on the tube, and so on, possibly. You're going to have to mask up. We've talked a lot about masks on the show, but I think one of the problems all of us feel is that when you have the mask, you can't see yourself. You can't make any expressions except with the eyes. But I saw this solution on the BBC just today, actually, that there's a mask that's been developed with moving lights to give you some expression on there. And it's a person invented it, and there's a little clip of how it works here, which I think it looks great.
This might be the coolest face mask I've seen. It was created by game developer Tyler Glale, and the lights respond to the sound of your voice.
Because it looks like it might have been developed originally by Al Jolson.
Can you say that? Yeah.
You can say you can say it.
The reporter really liked this as well. He thought it was such a great idea. I mean, here's what he had to say about it.
I thought I'd have a go at making this myself, just as.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You just see something like, well, this must be a piece of pish. I was gonna do a news story about what this guy made, but I thought I'll just do it myself because that's the kind of wanker I am. Now, before I get sued by whoever that reporter dude is, the guy who made it did put it online, the technology behind how he did it and the source code and everything else, because he's probably a geek like you. You use all Linux and all that shared free software
open
crap.
Source.
Open source. Don't allow Bill Gates to get any more money so that he can microchip our children. Gotta let him do it. Or I'm sure Steve Jobs come back any day now. But he put it out there, and so Steve and I thought, all right, we'll work on this together, especially with Steve's geek skills primarily driving this. But our mask is different. Not just shows expression like the mask that they made, but this one doesn't just show words. It's a more advanced mask which shows pictures of what you're talking about. You can see it here.
Hi, I'm Eric, and I live in the United Kingdom, where my Prime Minister is Boris Johnson. But I'm originally from America, where my president is Donald Trump.
I'd buy one. Looks good to me.
And it is because it shows the difference, because you can see the difference between Boris Johnson and Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's a little bit smaller. Yeah, a little bit smaller. I mean, Boris must be huge, because I mean, how many kids does that man have?
No one knows.
You wink
Top scientists don't know.
I'm afraid to meet him.
It's one of those numbers. If ever you get bored and you are a nerd like me and an INTJ, I have self-medicated through lockdown, through the emotional ups and downs of it all, by watching lots of videos about maths, including ones that explain why 1/0 is technically undefined. Mm-hmm. And I think there's probably a video out there as to why the number of children Boris Johnson has is unknowable. It's an uncountable infinity.
I bet it is. Right. With some debate about Mark going back to work in there. Not going back to November. Oh, okay.
Sounds good. I mean, the same thing for us as well, because I had a gig coming up next week that's been cancelled. There's going to be an awful lot of that as soon as we think we're going back to work.
Yep. We're trying to relaunch Crack Comedy every Friday night in Kingston, and don't know how that's going to go. But if you'd like for live comedy, we're trying to come back. It's scheduled.
Yeah.
Scheduled.
Keep it all. Yeah, support live comedy. But until then, we're here knocking this stuff out for you.
We're here. And thank you very much to Alan, who has bought us a beverage as well. We're at that. Thank you very much, Alan.
Ellie says, yep, won't be buying one of those masks, but very funny. Love the cup of tea is the UK reference. Yes. And if you watch previous episodes, you'll get some in-depth analysis about the correct way to make tea in Britain. None of that TikTok rubbish.
In a microwave.
And then 3 scoops of Tang.
Tang. Miss me some Tang. And some Cheetos.
All right, but this is a topical comedy show. We solve problems and we deal with the big news of the day. So we have to deal with this. I saw this headline break earlier today. Ed Davey elected Liberal Democrat leader. Oh. So... Because, we're topical comedians, so
I mean, I guess you could say...
well, I mean... what would you have to say about it, Eric? Do you know what? I just don't think I can. I don't think I've got anything to say about this. Do you know what? I'm going to swap it around instead. Do you know, we did get a different story in. This was one sent to us by our regular correspondent, Philip Brennan, who sent this story. Spiders the size of your hand set to invade homes to look for sex over the next few weeks. And I thought to myself, if I want something the size of my hand that's going to give me sex, then... Actually, do you know what? Let's forget that joke. We should talk about Ed Davey, because I know it seems like no one cares.
No.
And it's true that no one cares. But I think we should do this. Look, it's been difficult, hasn't it, recently? All the news has been negative stuff about coronavirus, the recession, all these other, problems across the world. So it's nice that a news story comes up that we don't have to care about.
There you go.
So there you go. That's a bit of a positive. He's the leader of one of the big political parties in the UK. I tried to... Look, it's difficult for us as topical comedians. To tell you who I really feel sorry for. If you were one of those satirical, topical impressionists, you wouldn't bother, would you? I should have to put the effort in. So I did the research, and I watched the dramatic announcement of a new leader being named as a political power in the UK, and we have a clip of the moment that it happened. Get ready for some darned exciting coverage.
And so Ed Davey has been elected the next leader of the Liberal Democrats. Congratulations, Ed.
Wow, anticlimax-tastic. This, to be fair, this is my favourite thing that actually happened during the whole thing. It's Ed Davey walks to the stage. I like this, because look. It was the caretaker all along. I would have got away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. Went quickly downhill after that.
It's going to be, to be fair, watching the speeches for both the DNC and the RNC in America, because politicians thrive off that, of the sycophants that are there. And without that, it's just... And here's one of the only dudes that's still a Liberal Democrat. It was between him and 2 other people, and both of them have already had a turn.
Yeah, and they all agreed. I'm sure that technically they got a certificate for it. Even if you don't win the job, no one loses in the Liberal Democrats. You still get a joint runners-up ticket.
Do British kids, I can't remember if this is in America, I don't remember if my kids have ever done this living here. You play the game Not It, where you go, not it, and the last person to say not it is it.
All right,
So,
is that how
I guess you'd say not on, you'd go not on, and so that's what they all did, stood in a circle, a little bit of not it, and then, it's me. I got to be the leader now.
Because the Tories do that whole thing with the 1922 committee and the way they vote down the Labour Party now poll absolutely everyone who's a member, and the Liberal Democrats play not it.
There's so very few of them.
That works. There was one bit, though, as he gave a speech about what was going to be different, what he plans to do as the leader of the Liberal Democrats.
My message for you is this. I will travel up and down our country to meet you.
There's a pandemic on you, Git. Maybe this is something we have to worry about before. I will travel up and down this country, shaking hands, licking babies, and let's see what happens.
Jesus. He's going to get it pretty soon.
He is, isn't he? Mark Randall says, is he Mel Smith's younger brother? That is a good idea. Thank you, Mark, because now, in the future, if ever we get any coverage of Ed Davey from the side, I could wear a white shirt, lean in the other side, and give it some of that, what's all that then and all that then? Have you got any idea what that's about, Eric?
I've got no idea.
Yeah, don't get the references. You can do it side on. What's all that then, all that then? Well, no skin off my nose, is it?
20 years I've been here, and there's still things that are new every day.
You don't remember all the Smith and Jones stuff? Man alive. So look, what else we got? No, I was going to say, let's look for any other Ed Davey comments in any of the comment chat boxes. Nah. No. A mate of mine from back home, Ed, sent me a message, though, about him. And he pointed out, so I'm from Sutton in Ashfield. I often say I'm from Mansfield. It's roughly the same area. Yeah. And then he gave me a little tip-off about Ed Davey. Davey was born in Mansfield, Nottinghamshire. Oh, my days. He's from the same place as me. So it just goes to show that, yeah, and I talk about being working class a lot, but if you are from a working class area, like Sutton in Ashfield, like Mansfield, and you work hard, if you really put your mind to it and you are dedicated, you too can achieve not really that much. We were saying earlier on, he's the leader of the Liberal Democrats. I'm on the MASH report. I don't know who technically has more political power.
Well, I mean, it just shows. I mean, you've been nominated for Prime Minister tonight. You've been nominated for Chancellor.
More than he has.
You could, you could someday become leader of the Liberal Democrats because not it.
Yeah, not it. I'd love to. I should be the leader of something else, so I could debate with him across. Imagine me and Ed Davey across the dispatch box, and I just lean in. What's all that then and all that then about there? What's that then?
I'll Google that.
Yeah, you got no idea. As the only commentator, does that mean that I get to be the next Lib Dem leader? Yes. The only commenter on that, I mean. Ellie says, the spiders are looking for sex in our house. With who? Other spiders or anyone? No, that's not good news. I always think that's weird. That this is the time of year when spiders come inside looking for sex. Yeah. And, I'm a leg man, but not that many. What were other jokes I used to do about this? Because it comes around every year and I've ended up writing jokes.
That's such a dumb joke. It's funny. I mean,
that's what I write. Dumb
jokes. That makes me laugh.
What about this one? I remember I did this one in a sketch because the spiders down here in Kent are massive as well. Yeah. Some of them are absolutely huge. And there was one that I remember I came in, turned the lights on and saw this massive spider on the wall. It ran across, turned the light off again. No one believed how big it was, so I got a 50p, put it next to it, took a picture, and it nicked it. So now that's the 50p that the spider's got. So I'm paying it rent.
It's good. It's classics. Yeah. Classic Steve. Right. Thank you to Chris, who's bought us a drink. So thank you very much for that, Chris. We do appreciate that. We're kind of getting low on time. We want to behave because we want to be one of those Edinburgh Fringe shows. But I've got one more story. This is going back to something that did happen to me. I'm attached to the story personally because Donald Trump, President of the United States, actually lost a lawsuit a few years ago, and he was prohibited from blocking people on Twitter because the judge decided that the @ thing, @real Donald Trump, he was using it for official business to make pronouncements and that kind of thing, and he lost the case and he had to unblock a lot of people, but Trump has decided he can't take the hate anymore, and this was in the headline last week. He's just gone back to court to try and have the right to block people again after the court said that he couldn't. So, and the reason I care about this, Steve, is because you remember I was blocked by the President of the United States. I still have an American passport. I still file a tax return. Don't make enough to actually pay anything, but I file because it's the law. You're required to. They might catch you. I snapshotted it. This is back from June 2017 when I was blocked by the president. Some of you may have noticed behind me under the beer sign over here in the house. I've got it blown up there. There it is. Yeah. I'm very proud of the fact that that the President of the United States and his little chubby fingers went in there and blocked me. And it's not just Donald that blocked me. I got this one, Donald Trump Jr. Look at this. Look at that.
Nice.
Blocks back in the day. And I mean, it's kind of pointless, but I've got this block as well. Don't know. I mean, everybody blocks him. But I was working on the whole family, going for the royal flush.
Nice.
A joke? I don't know. But I was unblocked because he was sued by a group called Mike Columbia, who were an advocacy group. They won the court case, and when they won, because they had like 7 people that they represented, they opened it up to other people who were blocked. And so I wrote to them and I said, I've been blocked. And they said, okay. And my name was submitted in writing as part of this court resolution to the Department of Justice to say this person should be unblocked. And somebody had to go into Trump's account. I just hope he had to do it while he was sitting there with his greasy little burger fingers and unblock me, right? That's kind of cool. And when you did it, though, you had to send in the tweet that you think got you blocked so that they could prove that it wasn't like abuse or violence or that kind of thing. So I had to go through the tweets. It was hard to know the exact moment you get blocked because, of course, you don't get noticed. That's probably the point. And I think I got it down to this was the tweet that I think did it. Trump sent this tweet. Which we have here back in April 2017. Happy birthday to our FLOTUS, Melania. He actually spelled her name right in that one. He often calls her Melanie. It's confusing when you have that many wives. So he sent that tweet. And so this was copied into the letter sent to the Department of Justice. It's on file somewhere in the U.S. government that he sent that tweet, and then I sent this one. Looking for gift ideas? Give her a divorce. It's what she really wants. 1,000 likes. That's good for me. Yeah.
How did you make the divorce in thicker text?
I've got no idea. I think maybe you used to be able to do that in Twitter. Or maybe because I think when I was search
for divorce.
I searched for my name, divorce, and Donald Trump, and that's how it found it in the search. There we go. Yeah, I was not able to make it bold, but that's filed in the Justice Department.
Yeah.
So
he's going back to court to try and block you again. Have you been sending more jokes about his wife?
No.
We've done about 3 in the show tonight.
Don't want to talk about that.
He's probably watches the show because we're doing all right for figures these days.
He can see my tweets now. So he had to unblock me. So it was pretty much. I mean, it goes being blocked by Trump, getting a dog, having children. That's kind of the hierarchy.
Did your dog just bark perfectly on cue there?
Yes, he did.
God, I mean, that is a well-trained mutt.
Well, his name's blocked, so that's fine.
He knows when to respond. Brilliant. Ellie says, blocked by Trump, an achievement. That means he's scared of you.
Yep.
Yeah, you and stairs, but also ramps. I mean, that is unfortunate. If you're afraid of ramps and stairs, you got lifts. That's all you got. Can't be escalators because you can't hold the handrail.
You can't tell him go take a lift because he'll be like, what was that? He doesn't know what that is because we don't have them in America. We have elevators.
Yep. And that's really helped you, isn't it? And also you don't have maths, you have math.
Yep.
Which explains a lot.
Because we just have freedom.
Yeah. Less math, more freedom.
Right, we're getting towards the end. Thank you very much to anyone who has bought us a drink during the show. You're welcome to do that if you've enjoyed what you've watched tonight. We appreciate that. If you think, I'd buy these 2 guys a drink. But what we would also appreciate from anybody watching is subscribe to the YouTube channel and tell people about the show, because the more people that watch the show, it's just nice to share it around, and we have fun making it, and we'd love for more people to see it. So please, do the subscribe-y things and all that. Yeah. Is that?
I've been watching lots of YouTube videos of people, and they say things like, hit the subscribe and hit the bell. And I don't know what it means. There's a bell next to the subscribe. I think it's some sort of homage to Quasimodo. Do it like that. Imagine that it's in some way a great work of fiction. I mean, I know it seems really self-serving, but the amount of time and effort we put into this, all flipping day to film some of this stuff. Because most of that is because we're not, great at filming all that lark. But
there's that. I mean, you were managed to do a three-way with just yourself on Tuesday. So if you haven't seen that, it's worth going back to. We are taking next Tuesday off because I'll be away, but we will be back Thursday as usual at 9 o'clock in the UK. But we'll try and drop some clips and things out in place of the actual show and some highlights and stuff.
Loads of content and stuff like that. So follow us on whichever social media, get subscribed to the YouTube, because this is the last one of the Edinburgh Fringe. So if you're a Fringe watcher, if you've been watching this because we're listed in the official guide, subscribe to the thing and you can keep watching the show. It goes back to being about half an hour rather than 45 minutes, but we put the effort in, we do what we can. So this is the end of the Edinburgh Fringe. How's the run been for you? Because normally what would happen now is we'd go and get drunk in a loft bar. But
climb up Arthur's Seat and that kind of thing. But
which, if you've never been to Edinburgh, that's a place, because climb up Arthur's Seat very much sounds like a different thing. It's like the place you would put your metro if you're on a really busy C2C train.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like a little mountainy thing. I mean, a mountain for what you call mountains in the United Kingdom. And no, I think it's been good. I think it's been a good run, and it's cost me almost less money than most fringes.
Yeah, although oddly, it's technically more work. No one's admitted this. We've had some lovely reviews, and thanks for the people who've reviewed them. But I think one has kind of mentioned how the amount of writing work that goes into it. But normally in Edinburgh, you do a show every single day, but it's the same hour of material. You just knock it out again and again. And we were like, yeah, we'll do Edinburgh. What? We've got to keep writing material, different stuff twice a week.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's you guys, you kids out there are worth it. How's that for pandering?
But yeah, so subscribe, spread the word, all that lark. And we're not here Tuesday. We're back on Thursday.
See you then. Thanks a lot.
Till then, bye.